Okay. Hello and hello and hello. Um, it's good to be live again. So sweet and exciting to be. Yes. My name is Abayo. Yes, you might all know, and then I'm the head of research and chief learning designer at EAZY-DIGI. We are a research and training based organization on educational technology and 21st century learning systems. So work with schools in Nigeria as consultants and blended learning managers, and that's what we do, right? Our vision is to build systems based on global standards, and yeah, we've been doing that for the past more than a year, right? And we're excited at how far we've come. So this is about Project Now, right? So Project Now, from time to time, we come up with different kind of projects, and everything we do at EasyDG is to show schools an example, right? We're always coming up with different models, different examples that schools can emulate, right? We come up with conferences, their projects. We come up with events like this, their projects, right? With different kind of dynamics and content and all of that, just showing uh, to our education community, what school can become, the kind of activities, that should be happening at school today, right? We should have activities at school that's connecting learners with people, with professionals, um, with educators across the globe. We should have that happening every now and then. Um, Thank you so much, Lanre Abolaji. Thank you so much for joining. It's so sweet to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing part of your time with us. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for everyone uh, that's even going to join us. We're happy to be here. So I was saying that everything we do at EasyDG, right, is to show schools an example of what should be obtainable. You know, um, Everything about school should not just be about Monday to Friday in the physical classroom, right? We're in a revolution where school and education has become disrupted, right? So there should be avenues like this where your learners embark on projects like this, where they have to be on platforms like this, like Restream, and they are connecting with professionals across the globe. They're having real conversations, right? They're having conversations based on business, on finances, on several areas. That's what should be happening today in our schools. That we should have, for the sake of global citizenship, for the sake of their own future, 2030, 2035, where tech will practically shrink the whole world into a small, tiny space. There's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be a world that is so, so interconnected, right? So we need these kind of experiences. I use the word experience. We need these kind of experiences to create that atmosphere, right? So that they can become so used to it, right? Right. And that's one thing we preach at EasyDigi. That's one thing we talk about every now and then. So we're always rolling out different projects. And then the latest project we have at EasyDigi is Project Now, right? I'm going to talk about Project Now in a moment, but then I'm a Nigerian and I'm so excited that my country today is 62 years old, right? Yeah. So to everyone watching, if you listening, connecting across from another country, please wish us well. Um, Nigeria is an amazing country, just that many people don't get to see what the real Nigeria is, right? Yeah, so we are amazing people. Nigeria is a great country, right? We've got great people across the globe who are doing mighty things. Talk about the likes of Ngozi Weala and a whole host of them. I love them right there. Who are doing we're great people. We've got great stuff, and um, I'm excited that we are 2 years old. Nigeria, I love Nigeria. Nigeria, God bless you. God bless you, Nigeria. It's so sweet as a nation. Yes, we can be better, we can improve, there can be more and more and more. And that's part of why we're having this project, this conversation, Project Now, right? Of course, when you see the word now, that's talking about something that needs to happen like right now, like even now, right? So I'm going to talk about Project Now in a moment, and then I will bring in our guests. These are school leaders, and then we're going to be having conversations talking about our education system, right? Talking about some things that we need to start doing even now for the sake of the future of Nigeria. The truth is this, right? Our education today is our economy tomorrow. That's the truth. No nation can be greater than the quality of higher education system greater. It's a direct proportionality. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. If today you see many things wrong with Nigeria, where to go to is not the politicians. Where to go to is not FG. Where to go to is the education system. That's where the solution is. That's where the solution is. So if we get it right in our education system, we can be sure that the future of Nigeria is going to be great. If we don't get it right, I'm sorry, right? And that is what Project Now is all about, right? Project Now. Now the question is, what needs to happen now, right? What needs to happen now? What has happened for the past 2 years, and what needs to really happen now, right? I'm going to talk about that in a moment, and then afterwards, like I said, I'll bring in our speakers for today. So what have we seen? We have seen an education system that is controlled by what is called examination, right? I'm going to talk about that in a moment, right? We see that we have a system that is exam pool, right? So everything that happens in the system from the beginning to the end is for something called an exam, right? So 3 months, hey guys, we need to prepare you for an exam, right? And even parents don't know this. Even parents are in that web as well, right? The expectation of parents is, oh, send my kids to school, they need to do well, and the exam is going to show it and all of that. Dear parents, you need to understand that that system is not the best for your kids, right? What you want to be concerned about is the skill set that your kids are leaving that school with. What you want to be concerned about, right? You want to ask the school to start with, but what are your skill sets in this environment, right? Every child that pass, what are the skill set that they come out with? You want to ask your school that question and to understand that a child can get an A in English and have communication skills. That's the truth. A child can have an A in math, right, and have poor innovation skills, right? So the grade and are two different things. That's the truth. Getting a good grade is one thing, right? And these grades are not transient. A grade is not enough to quantify the outcome of experience, right? There are so many things that are transpired. There are so many skills that have been built that needs to be shown, and that's why we need a system. We need a structure, right, that can show those things. You've learned something for 3 months, and all you have to validate is just a letter or a number. I mean, that's not enough. That's not enough, right? That's definitely not enough, right? So what you want to be concerned about is the skill set, right? And so there's that example, and this thing called examination has hindered our education and our educators from seeing the realities on the other side, right? So school is supposed to prepare this kids for real life, right? So somebody said, Bo Adams, if school is meant to prepare kids for real life, why doesn't school looks like real life? That's the truth. Why doesn't school looks like real life if school is meant to prepare for real life? Today, according to professionals in the secular world, there is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. How does our education system model that? How? 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 Most of what we have in our system today doesn't model that word. And that's why I said examination, or the kind of examination we have, as it were, hinders us from seeing the realities on the other side, right? On the other side is a different kind of that these kids must be prepared for, right? So we're saying with Project Now that it is time for us, right? You have a circle of influence, you're an educator, you are a school leader, you have a circle of influence, and you can do something now for from where you are, right? We are 62 years. This system has stayed for 62 years, and we know that we can have a better nation, but we know that where to go to is our education system. Please, I'd like to hear from you in the chat box. If you're viewing from LinkedIn, we're streaming live on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you're streaming from YouTube, I'd like to hear from you. You're streaming from LinkedIn, please, I'd like to hear from you in the chat box. It would be a great one. Um, yeah, absolutely. So it is time for us to do something about this right now. Something has to be done right now, right now, right now, right now. Examination should no longer determine how we move, right? What should determine how we move is the realities on the that should inform everything happening in our system, right? For example, we live in a world of agility, right? And that speaks to the fact that everything we learn, everything our kids are learning, have to be evolving in line with how the world is evolving. That's very crucial. You know what I mean? I was in the school and we're talking about farm tools, and then we had to dig into there's a farm in Nigeria today that makes use of drones. Yeah, Nigeria today. But globally, if you look at the world of farming, right? Farming has evolved into an aspect where robots have taken so many areas, taking so many areas, and and humans don't need to do a number of things in the farm, right? I was checking the farm on YouTube, and you can see how technology has broken largely into agriculture, right? So we understand the fact that if I'm talking about farm tools and I do not bring in this to the reality into the content, then what am I talking about? You understand? So content has to be agile, right? Everything has to keep shifting and keep adjusting. The design of our learning has to keep adjusting and keep shifting. For example, I saw yesterday on LinkedIn that India has moved to the fifth largest economy, right, in the world, right, bypassing UK, right? So now that was just released yesterday. If I'm a teacher, maybe we're doing economics and we're talking about the economy and we're doing some analysis, right? That has to be a part of what I'm discussing today. If this is my classroom, I need to bring that into my conversation. You know, Context has to determine content, right? These are the things we see that needs to start happening now, even now in our education system, right? We need to go away from textbooks and focus on bringing the context to determine the content of what we're sharing with learners, what they discuss, so that their mind can be open to today's realities, right? So that by chance, right, they can begin to see the kind of problems they're going to be solving. Because tomorrow, they need to know the problems of today, right? They need to know the problems of today, right? Um, I've earmarked a number of things that I believe that according to research, right, needs to stop right now in our system, needs to stop right now. I earlier talked about the fact that we have an example system. We need to deliver ourselves from examination. That's the truth. We need to deliver ourselves. Fine, we're going to write the exams, but we need to know that there is an higher purpose, right, beyond examination, right? We don't want to follow that pool where, oh, finally we have done the exam, we are free. No, are we raising lifelong learners? Are we raising kids who love to learn? Right? Examination should not terminate learning. Are we raising kids that love to learn? Right? Are we raising kids who are exploring, who are discovering things for themselves beyond the scope of what school is sharing with them? Do we have such kind of kids? These are some of the things that needs to stop in our system. Here we're here to discuss about our education system and things that needs to stop in our system, right? I'm going to stop right here, and I have some of our speakers in the house, and these are school leaders. We're going to be talking about they'll be sharing their thoughts, their opinion, what they think about our current system, and of course, to this is very open, right, to our participants joining on LinkedIn, on YouTube. We just want to hear from you in the chat. As you respond, I'll be popping it up on the screen, right, so that everyone can see what you're saying. So your voice is very important in this conversation, right? So we're here to talk about the destiny of Nigeria, right? We're here to, and that the destiny of our nation is in the classrooms. I dare to say that the destiny of our nation is in the classroom. I'm very keen about the content and learning experiences that is obtainable in our various classrooms across the nation. Right? That is the womb. That is the womb that will form our nation. It's the classroom. That's the womb, right? And that's what happens every minute in the classroom is very crucial, right? Enough of students sitting down and writing notes, doing classwork and doing homework, the subject to topic to exam paradigm. That is not what we need. We don't need that anymore, right? That has not brought us to a great place. We don't need that anymore. We need a different paradigm. We need a different kind of experience entirely, right? That will raise individuals that are different from the kind of leaders we even have today, that will raise individuals who are empowered enough to affect their society. We need an education system that is strong enough to influence, affect our society and our economy real time. Our education system has to be connected strongly with our society and with the economy. It has to be that school, the essence of school and everything that happens at school, right, is to affect our society and our economy. We need that kind of system, right? But unfortunately, examination has disconnected us from that reality. But now we need to reconnect. We need to connect and make it happen. Okay, so I'm excited that I have uh some of our speakers right here with me on stream. Temitope Adebimpe. Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me? Connected to Restream. Please confirm that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Um, okay, so um, while I'm waiting for Mr. Mitope, I also have Mr. Bimbola Osage. Um, so, Mr. Bimbola Osage, I added you to the restream. Um,
Hello,
Good
Mr.
evening.
Debayo, I can hear
Are
you.
you,
awesome, awesome.
can you hear
Yes,
you?
yes, 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 definitely. Uh, yes, very well. I can hear you, Mr. Bimbola.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining. I can hear you. I can hear
All
you,
right.
Mr. Mitope. Thank you so much for joining. Right. So, yeah, thank you so much. And then we also have Mr. Diola. Mr. Diola, I just plugged you in. Confirm that you can hear me right now. Mr. Diola, can you hear me? Uh, yeah, Mr. Diola, can you hear me? I get yes. Once again, happy birthday to Nigeria. We are 62 years old and we are so proud of how far we've come. Right, 62 years is not a small. Right, we're excited. Happy independence, Nigeria, and we want to discuss about our independence from some things in our education system. We need freedom from some things in our education system. We're going to be discussing about it like today. All right, so I'd like to start with Miss Abimbola Osage. Um, so So again, I'd like to keep hear from you in the chat box. Please, participants, your voice is very important here, right? So do it to share your thoughts, do it to share your comments. You can ask questions if you want to, it's fine, right? This is an open conversation. We'd like to keep hearing from you. Okay, so Mr. Bimbola, good afternoon. You can turn on your video. We'd like to see you, we'd like to hear from you.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr.
Yeah,
Debayo.
good. Welcome. So Mr. Bimbola is the proprietress of the Joyland School, right? So the Joyland School is in Lagos, Yaba in Lagos, an amazing school raising problem solvers and innovators, right? So Mr. Bimbola, thank you once again for joining us. Right, this is Nigeria
You're welcome.
62. Let me start by saying, what do you have to say? What do you have to say about Nigeria? What do you have to say about that quickly?
Well, it's a great thing that we are celebrating independence today, specifically
Hmm.
in Nigeria 62. Just like the message you passed around that Nigeria is 62, and the expectation is for us globally, for citizens within Nigeria and even outside this country, is we look forward to seeing a nation um, that is 62 in all ramification,
Hmm.
in terms
Hmm.
of development, in terms of growth, in
Hmm.
terms of achievements, and many more. But having said that, we know that we are far from our expectation. But for me, I still very much keep hope alive that if we can rise up.
Okay. I think we lost right there. Yeah, I'm sure she's gonna be back. But that's fine. Yeah, I like the fact that we need to be 62 in every aspect, right? And keeping up our life. I'm a strong believer of the fact that we're gonna have there is a high possibility. You know why? Because I have seen what is happening in the Gen Z landscape of the Nigerian population, right? I have seen a generation of young people rising who are ready to take Nigeria by storm. I have seen them, right? All over because I do a lot of research. We do a lot of research at EAZY-DIGI, and you can see that there is a generation of young people rising who represent a new Nigeria. So I am so sure, I am so convinced, I am so sure that Nigeria by 2030, by 2035 is going to be different from what we're seeing today. I'm super sure about that. I know that's really going to happen big time, right? Okay, so if you're listening to us, if you're connected, please on YouTube, on LinkedIn, tell us what do you think about Nigeria 62. We'd like to hear from you, right? What do you think about Nigeria 62? Right? We're here to launch a project called Project Now. And let me quickly say that what Project Now is saying is that every child in every classroom must create a solution to a problem in their society. That's it. Project Now is saying that every child in every classroom must create a solution to a problem in their society, beginning from elementary. I know you are saying, why elementary? Well, that is the truth. We have seen kids in the elementary level, right, looking straight into their society and imagining what they can do, the value they can add to their system. That's the kind of education we need to have, that tells kids that what they learn is because of their society, is to develop their society and their economy, not to pass an exam. You see the paradigm, right? And that's where we're going. That's really where we're going, right? So from elementary level, want to have a generation of young people who know that I go to school to be empowered, to be inspired, right, to add value to my society, not to pass, not to start competing with my colleagues and passing an exam. That's a lower paradigm. That's a lower order thinking, right? And that's why we have an education system that cannot affect our society and our economy, right? So we know that the paradigm really has to be different, okay? Uh, so I am waiting for Miss Mamola to join us again. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah, so that's where we are, right? So Project Now is saying that every child in every classroom must create a solution to a problem in their society, right? But then there are learning experiences that has to promote that reality, right? Which we're going to be talking about earlier. But that's Project Now. And what have we done? We have a page on LinkedIn that I've created for that. What we want to do is that on that page, we want to keep showcasing kids across Nigeria that are creating solutions to solve problems in their society, right? So whatever you as an educator, if you say yes, I stand for Project Now, what you're saying is that we want to create a classroom where in the society will be their class. That's the paradigm, right? Their classroom cannot be that physical classroom has to be their society, has to be their community. So we are saying that you believe in it, and then you raise learners who are able to create solutions to problems in their society. And as they're doing that, we have a global community. We're going to be sharing with our global community and saying, yes, this is what is happening right now in Nigeria. Kids are learning how to impact their society, not just how to pass an exam, right? And that has to start happening now. That's just a summary of Project Now, right? Please, I'd like to keep hearing from you guys. Have uh, okay. I think I have Mr. Adiola. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Mr. Adiola. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, great. So, powerful, powerful. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Right. So, Mr. Adiola is the proprietor of God's Banner School. Well, the funny thing about God's Banner School is God's Banner School was the school I attended when I was very young. So I had my primary school at God's Banner.
So lovely. So lovely.
Yeah, so lovely, yeah, so lovely. And it's so excited that, to see what's happening at God's Banner. Thank you for being a visionary leader at God's Banner. Everything, in a place like Mushin, to ensure that God's Banner is creating a different experience for the kids in that community, right? And helping them to be inspired, to be a change agent, right? Thank you for all you do. So I'm going to question before we move on. So what do you think about Nigeria 62?
Just like yesterday when we had an event in the school, I asked some of the children, and I asked them what is the significance of independence to them, and some of them gave some words like bondage. Yeah, it looked like we're in bondage, and some students say that there is no freedom, and looks like the future is bleak, but in all, I came to actually let them understand that the future is in their hands to create. And as a school, we have the responsibility to let them understand that the change will not come from any other place except from them. And as a school, we have that role to play in instilling the confidence and the hope that is missing in Nigeria today. We have that responsibility because as educators, we are their mentors. They see us as as the, the the example of what they should follow. And when they're able to create that picture to them, gradually the impression of what Nigeria is and what Nigeria should be will be changing, and we're going to have a citizens of Nigeria who, in the next couple of years, be able to believe in the vision that Nigeria can be better and Nigeria can be one of the greatest economies in the world.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Yes, that is possible, and that is sure going to happen. That is so possible, and that is sure going to happen. All right, so uh, so let me see if I can get on Miss um, can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Adebayo.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's great. So I'm just gonna ask one question. For the moment, what do you think about Nigeria 62?
Oh, well, I'll say that I'm excited for Nigeria, a nation we have to be proud of. It's the giant Africa. And then we've had a number of great, awesome people that have come out of this nation. And our youth are doing great things in the nation. Yes, we're not where we to be, but then we're keeping hopes up. And with people like you are coming up and the various ideas that are coming up, our future is going to be great. So more wisdom for Nigeria.
Absolutely. We are sure that our future as a nation is going to be great. So I thank you so much, ma'am. So I said something in the broadcast we shared for this event. That if the purpose of our education 62 years ago was to transform the society and improve our economy,
Yeah.
right? If that
Yeah.
became the purpose all the way from year 6 to year 12, if what we consider as education is something that is able to improve our society and improve our economy, then by today we'll have probably been in a better place. Do you agree?
Oh, well, yes. I think in as much as we have a number of concerns concerning the education in Nigeria, if you look at some of these complaints, you find out that a number of schools in diaspora as well have these issues, and they're also trying to reform and transform their education system. So the most important thing
Yeah.
at this point in time is the fact that we are not hidden in the dark. Now we know the truth. We know the right thing to do. So it's for us to evangelize and carry the message to everyone, and for all of us to execute right, so that our children can become innovators. Gradually, people are that examination is not the end of education. It's not even the goal of education. The goal of education
Yeah.
is to transform a mind to be able to problem solve in the society and be useful to themselves and to the society. So now that we are getting the information out there that this should be done differently. You have been trying, but there are things that should be done differently. Once the message keeps going out, I'm sure we're going to be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The goal of education is not examination, like you said, is to transform the mind of young people, right, to the point where they catch a vision, right, to the point where,
Yeah. Yeah.
they begin to see themselves solving. The moment they seem that succeeded, I think our education system has succeeded. The moment it leads to a place
Yes.
where the child then has a vision for the society. I see myself doing this in this place. I see myself solving that problem. They begin to
Yes.
have that kind of inclination. Succeeded. They may have succeeded. Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am,
So that's why I'm
for
also
mentioning that.
thinking, yeah, for this program that we're having, I think we need to have more programs like this where we bring in the youth themselves. We have a number of youth that are already disenfranchised with the system of education in Nigeria. They're doing great things for themselves. They're self-learning. They're trying to acquire skills. They are beginning to follow their mentors. A number of these youth, their mentors, you find their mentors in people like Elon Musk, Gary V, Mark Cuban, those are their mentors. And these guys are daily saying school is a scam. School is a scam. So they're also beginning to feel school is a scam, especially since big organizations like Apple and Google are employing teenagers without certificates. So they're also thinking in their head, this school is a scam. This school thing is a scam. So I think we need to start engaging them and hear their voices on what exactly they want out of school, the kind of information and skill. Because if they could go online to seek out the skills that they want and they're achieving with it, it means they can actually tell us these are the skills that we want to learn. And once we can hear their voice, we start infusing gradually, you know. So it's important that we involve the youth in this decision as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Here's what we're doing right now. Again, this is about project now. You know, you can only understand what we're saying by hearing from school leaders. These are that have been in the system, people that have moved, that have seen how education has evolved in their space, that have seen how young people have given a lot of feedback about their experience, and that have seen what can happen, right? You know, with education, even now, right? So let me see. Do I have? I think I still have Mr. Diola here. Okay, waiting for Miss Abimbola to reconnect. Yeah, so Mr. Diola, tell me, what do you think? What do you think? Just like Mr. Abimbola rightly said, what can you say? What can you say about that?
Yeah. Okay. Based on what I was able to hear from her, it's true that we have a lot of students who see school as a scam, especially because of the fact that what is being required as success in life, you know, the money, you know, the fame and everything is being achieved by those role models that, you know, especially in this area of motion where, you know, the ideology about schooling is actually gradually eroding because it's all about survival, you know, trying to make sure that they are able to fend for their families. And the picture that is out there, you know, in the sense that we now have people who tends to be role models for these children, but who are not actually encouraging them to go to school. You see, and that has been a challenge. As it has been a challenge, especially you ask an average student in this area, they want to become musicians, you know, and most, you know, and they believe that to become a musician, to, you know, to have that money, to have that fame, you don't need to go to school, you know. You look at footballers too. They have their role models in these footballers. You see the amount of money being paid to footballers, and like, what school for? Now, so it is important we begin to, you know, reorder their thinking as regards what school is, and begin to, you know, reorganize what school needs to be. Thankfully, over at Gosbana School, we have been able to gradually achieve that goal. As a matter of fact, we have children now who are very enthusiastic to come to school because the traditional method of learning is being eroded, and you know, we are actually employing the 21st century teaching methodologies, digitizing learning, trying to make learning as real as possible for them, making it as fun, making it, you know, explorative, making it discovery, you know, and at the end of the day, we have a greater number of students now who are now shifting from that mentality of school as a scam, and gradually coming to see the you know, the effort being put in, you know, and the change, and we are seeing that because by the time you begin to see, you know, a lot of children of their own age, I'm seeing them what they could do in other schools through the help of EAZY-DIGI. Thank you so much, Mr. Debayo. through the help of EAZY-DIGI, we have been able to infuse that, that new order of thinking into our children and letting them realize that they are global citizens and they are able to achieve, a lot of things. So, as I've said in my first speech, it's all about the educators. There's so much information out there that is preaching the wrong things to them. It's preaching the wrong things to them. Many, believe they can bypass, education and, get the money, get the fame, get that, that success that they want. But it's all boils down to the educators. Although the government also has its own role to play, as you come to see in the news where we have the brain drain, that is called DAPA now. We have a lot of youths that actually live in the country and yeah, live in the country and it's affecting every sector. And the complaint is there that youths do not want to actually stay in the country again. But it's all about we the educators to making them understand that they have to believe in this country, that their effort can make all the difference. They don't need to leave this country before they could interact with the global world. They don't need to leave this country before they could be able to earn what is commensurable to their effort, even in this country, as we see a lot of people being able to achieve, even in the tech space now. So it's all about we, the educators. What kind of information are we trying to put across to them, and what are the tools that schools right now are putting in place to make sure that order of thinking is changing and they're gradually believing in the school system. So it's left to us as educators and also school owners to see that it's no longer about profit orientation again. It's all about service to the country, service to the next generation, service to making sure that it's not about us, it's not about the profit we want to make, but it's all about making a difference and changing and actually creating that new Nigeria that we all desire.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I put a post on WhatsApp recently, and I said, would it have mattered that you lived in Africa? If Mother Africa was to look at me, would Mother Africa tell me, "Thank you, Adebayo"? Like what value have you added to Africa? What value have you added to Nigeria? Right? We know that this is no longer the time to complain. This is the time to contribute, right? There has to be a top to bottom and a bottom to top approach, right? We cannot leave our destiny in the hands of the government and say our government
absolutely
yes,
absolutely
right? They have a role to play. We have a role to play, and we need to do it real well. This is my Nigeria. This is your Nigeria. We need to make it work.
Yes.
And then we need to follow the education system. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. The education industry actually has a big role to play, because one of the things we are actually opportune to do is to be able to change the mindset of our children, and a new world is being built, not physically but in minds. When minds are changed, when minds are transformed, and when minds are set are right, it's only a matter of time before we get to see that manifesting in the physical. So yes, we can't wait for the government. We can't really seeing all that is happening in Nigeria today. We can't really see any hope in the government, but we can create that hope in the little way that we can. How many students are in our schools? Take for example, in our private school, you have 100 and 200 students. Sometimes it only takes a handful of students to actually make changes. We look at those men who have actually made impact in the world. They are men who have stood the test of time, but because of the fact that they actually impressed what is in their mind upon the world, we are seeing that change to today, and the world is a better place for it. So if you're having children about 100, 200 in your school, how can you, in fact, you are having a whole country in your school. How can those minds be changed? Yes. How can those minds be changed? How can those minds be transformed? What service are you actually creating in your school that is going to bring their minds into the 21st century, making them have that skills, making them realize that they have the capacity to be able to do this country proud.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to move to Miss Madibin. Madibin is the director of study at Pearls Garden School. So before I move to her, let me say about God's Banner School. Like Mr. Adela just mentioned, I know something that happened last time was that your elementary kids, primary 3, I think 4 and 5, collaborated with primary 3, and then they went into the community, and then they were working on a project where they had to go find out a common illness in the community, and
Yes,
then
absolutely, yes.
yeah, so and they went out to do interview with adults, trying to they built a database, trying to find out what was the dominant sickness in that community, right? Yeah,
Yes.
and that was the problem. These kids were going to solve a big problem, and I know that the local health center in that place is not aware about these things.
At
That
all.
there's a dominant sickness. Please go ahead.
Yes, the project was actually so impactful. Um, in this part of Nigeria, where exposure is very limited. One of the things we battle with is exposure. We have few of those children who are exposed to actually the right traits. And that project was actually opened them up to seeing that they could do things. They could make impact even in their community.
Yeah.
Even by the time they actually went out, it's also surprising. It's also surprising that the community was welcoming. They welcomed them. They welcomed them because even the community, it looks like even the community was waiting to see something of that nature. You understand? And by the time the children went out, it was a positive feedback because that exposure, number one, the acceptance, number two, by the community, and the fact that the children realize that there is a connection between the class and what's going on in the community. That what they are being taught in the class, what they are learning in the class, can actually be realized and becomes a reality. Out there. It's so awesome, so fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that. Right, so I'm going to jump on Miss Adebimpe. So let me tell you something about Pearls Garden School. Pearls Garden is one of the schools that we know that is highly disruptive learning and really raising problem solvers. I know I had an interview with one of the learners at Pearls Garden School. Okay, let me start from last year. And the students um, came up with a group, a group of colleagues, and they built an app. And what they have to do, so there are several times where there are incidents where cars break down on the road and all of that, and then they need a quick help, right? So in a world of technology, in a world where several operations are becoming automated, right? So they need help, really. You're on the bridge somewhere, your car's broken, right? So they came up with a app that was able to like gather database of various tolling vehicles and those dealers and all of that and everything, and we're able to put that together. And the whole idea was you're stranded on accident, right? The environment needs to be cleared, and or the incident you need to reach the nearest possible health center or something, right? The app made that possible. So you think about connecting what's happening in the school with the environment. So the kids know that whatever it is we learn in this environment, we're learning it for a society, right? And just like Mr. Adiola rightly said, right? It was as if the community was already even expecting that, right? Let me start. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hello?
Great. So we're still in the conversation, right? So yeah, very well, I can hear you too. So Project Now is saying that every child in every classroom must create a solution to a problem in their society. What do you think about that? And what do you think about the traditional and moving to that kind of education? What do you think about it?
Oh, well, it's a ties so that they are aware of what the objective education
Mm,
and learning
okay.
is. And these children are guided aright. Do you understand? The conversation you spoke about tricky. Hello?
Okay, go ahead. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I can hear you now.
Okay. Yes. For everyone, we have to ensure, in short, we have to be addicted to asking that question. Where is this lesson going to lead to? Is it about passing examination, or solution has to come
Mm,
out of it, or a service, a product for the children? And
mm,
if we do
mm.
this, the aftermath of it is good. Highly intelligent children, that even this examination you're talking about is just going to be a walk by for them, because these children will really ask questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Recently, our students in year 9, that's GS3,
So
the construction that is
okay,
currently going on.
okay.
Okay, and they were taken to the site. When they got to the site with the construction plan, we called the engineers. Yes, we called the engineers. They were in charge of the building, the civil. They had a conversation with the children and everything. The children were pretty excited. Things that were coming out from those children was amazing. It was as if they totally
Mm,
decimated the objectives of that lesson and came up with their own objectives. It was really
mm,
exciting to
mm,
see, you know. So,
mm.
and then after that, they took the plans. Then they started looking at the foundation. They came back and had a experience with another architect. And currently, at this point in time, the children are now building plans for the imaginary structure from their heads. I don't know the structure, but they're currently it was an awesome experience, you know, on trying to cram
Yeah.
something and trying to pour out the questions these children were asking. Even the architect was super excited. Even the teacher was very, very surprised because they were engaged. So now he's looking at, okay, now we know this. How come we have buildings that are collapsing? So they're asking questions beyond what's been given to them. And now they're constructing their own. They're coming up with their own plans for it to be a standard one. And I think that's the way it should be. Even the children that you probably think, oh, these ones are not as are not high flyers. Do you understand?
Yeah.
On this level, when you create learning experiences, all the children are the same. Everyone is asking questions, everyone is enthusiastic, everyone is inquisitive, everyone wants to know. And if we want to turn around, because, well, we have seen it in years past, there is no record that says it's only first-class candidates that do well in life. There's nothing like that. So if we're able to nurture these children, for them to be inquisitive, for them to be problem solvers, then the nation is going to be the greater for it. Because we're going to do about this. And this has nothing to do with the curriculum. Curriculum has to be properly manipulated before it can create a result. So whether you're using Hispanic curriculum, Bohemian curriculum, it does not matter. It's the learning experience that is associated with the curriculum that is going to make all the difference. Yes. So we need to work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for pointing that out. It's just like saying that if these kids are going to ever solve, of course, part of what President now is saying is that we need to move from or simple problems to real and complex, right? Because the community they are going into, the world they are going into, right, is complex. There's nothing simple about the world today. It's not linear. It's not so common entrance, WAEC, JAMB, all those exams that are built on simple problems are not sufficient to lay a foundation. I mean, a correct foundation for problem solving. They are not enough. And that's why I was saying that, yes, let the exam trajectory remain. Why we don't have the power to cut it off, let it remain. But while that is standing somewhere, the major part of the experience they are going through to be such as is just like Mr. Miko correctly said, that is preparing them for solving real problems in their community by connecting the community with what the learning looks like. And that's why educators now have to become learning designers, right? You need to know more than the textbook. You need to know what is obtainable in today's landscape and the global industries and the society global. You need to know what is happening. You need to know the realities that are unfolding and plugging this context into your content. Like I always say, context must determine your content today. You're an educator, you are a learning designer, you're designing learning experiences, and you want to really understand the context very, very well. Very, very well. Right? So you are you're saying you're getting updates that when Apple started working on something and adjusted something, right, to provoke and to analytical thinking, you can bring that into a context and connect it to a topic, and your learners have to analyze that situation, right? Have to really try to understand what's happening with Apple. Why is Apple making that decision? Why could have been a better decision to be, put in place by the company? And these kids are going to build similar companies in their own future, right? And already they understand today what it means to have such kind of companies, right? These are the kind of learning experiences we're talking about, right? That is truly connecting us with the society, what is happening. Of course, they are global citizens. And again, because in their own future, they will deal with a strongly interconnected world. Technology will practically shrink the whole world. I'll say this in a moment, right? According to the African Union Commission, right, by 2030, of the world's young population will come from Africa. 40%. Nigeria is the giant of Africa. 40% of the world's young population will come from Africa. Think about that, right? Now, the point is, by 2030, the other continents will come to Africa. They will come to Nigeria. They will come looking for talent. That's the truth. They will come. But the point is, are we laying a foundation? Because every child in your school from year 8 upwards will be in the global workforce by 2030. Every child in your school from year 3 upwards will be in the global workforce by 2035. So, the strong foundation that will to maximize this opportunity when Asia, when other continents come looking for talent, India is going to come. The point is, they have come already. They are here. They are also looking for. It's happening big time. Like we have thousands of young people who are working with companies in Asia and other continents. Right now, by 2030, this is going to become a reality. There's going to be a serious battle in the Nigerian industry. That's not the conversation for today. But the point is, we know that there is a future that we know, not that we don't know. Right? Research has made some things so clear and so plain. There is a future we know that we're preparing these kids for, and we need to design learning experiences, put contents together that will prepare them for this future. At Pulse Garden School, I know that I think last time or thereabout, the learners have to take a course from Future Learn. You see what I'm talking about? This is about disrupting content and learning experiences, right? Not the math, English, the subject to topic to exam paradigm is just not sufficient, right? And that's why you see Postgraduate school, I know the learners had to take a course from year 7 to year 12. I think they're about. They took a course on digital skills for work on live from Future Learn. Future Learn is a platform where people are taking courses across the world and all of that. At the end of the course, they got a certificate. And just for this purpose, because we know. And Mr. Lemon, can you hear me? Are you still there? I would love that you say something about that experience. What the kids got exposed to, and how you think that's very important to what education should look like today. Mr. Debimpa, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. You went off for a while.
Okay. Okay. All right, ma'am. Did you get my question?
No.
Okay, so I was talking about the course your learners took on Future Learn. That's the one about digital skills for work and life. And then, I was trying to dig into the issue of content and learning experiences, how that we need to disrupt our content and also the learning experiences that we're creating for these learners, to really show them truly they are global citizens. Because we cannot keep saying they are global citizens if they are not experiencing global citizenship, right? Like going on a platform like Future Learn, taking a course with other people across the globe, getting a certificate. What did you see in that experience for the kids? And just in connection with what we're discussing right now.
Well, I think it's a form of exposure for the children that learning is lifelong and learning is not restricted to the four walls of the classroom, and to the fact that they can actually gain skills that are relevant to their future. The exciting thing about this course that we took is the fact that all the staff members also took the same course and got the same certification. So the children are aware that anyone at any age can actually gain skills.
Yeah.
Once they are aware that these things are available, and they can develop the self-discipline to do it. And they know that they're already building a CV and a brand for themselves by putting all these things together. So there's this young chap that I'm working with currently now that's in 300 level university. So we're working together, and then we created something. I was asking him the question. I said, what if ASU calls off strike? What's going to happen to all this beautiful program that we're putting together? And then he shocked me. He said he's not going back to school. I said, no, you must go back to school. And I gave him thousands of reasons why he needed to go back to school. And then when I finished, he just calmly told me and smiled, Ma, I'm not going back to school. He said currently he has 148, and there's nothing school is going to give him other than one extra certificate. And the annoying thing about that one extra certificate is the fact that it did not give him any skill. So all the skills he has now and is currently using, he did not even get them from school. He gained them online, and he has more than enough certificates to use if he needed certificates. So, and that's the reality. And that's my fear. Initially when we started talking about Education 4.0, learners for future. But that fear is now transformed with some of my experiences with young people. Now the fear is, will educators still be relevant in another 8-10 years? Will the children not seek out what they want somewhere else? Because the access to information in this age is just huge. It's huge. The learners are exposed and they know what they want. So when you're giving them bum-cum, something that is not relevant to them, they know. And they're just staring at you. Like the story of John Osani on LinkedIn. The boy is super smart. He has made millions. He's a teenager. And when they ask him that when you get out of secondary school, what university are you going to go to? And which course are you going to study? He told them point blank that he's not going to university. He said if he's going to do anything, he's going to be learning online, because he now has a company that he's working with. He's working with two companies, I think, one in US, one in America. He now has his own personal company and has people in those places working for him as well. So he said he needs to multitask. So if he wants to learn anything, he's not going to be holed up in any building. He's going to be online. So that's where I'm scared. I'm scared for the educators and the schooling system, that if we don't evolve and transform, we might become redundant, so that we won't be like, radiogram, or what do they call those things that have gone to extinction? And then there's a new thing that rises up in place of school.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the truth, ma'am. That's the truth. So we've moved from first industrial revolution to second to third to the fourth industrial revolution, but school has not moved from first to second to fourth.
Yeah.
School to still in the second revolution, trying to even in the struggle. This is why there not be a course called artificial intelligence in your school? Why? If you're a school owner today, why should there not be a score? In fact, when you talk about the courses, when you talk about the courses your learners are offering, right? You want to go beyond, I said again, the math, the English, those chemistry, physics, right? Those are not the subjects of the first industrial revolution school. I will say it again. Those are not the subjects in those. The subjects of the fourth industrial revolution school, they are artificial intelligence, they are digital marketing, they are software development. Down to primary school level. If we want to be disruptive and want to be true to it, we need to carve out an element of those courses down to primary school level, and they're experiencing. Now, you want to sit down and design a curriculum that will take AI across year 1 to year 12, right? So year 1 is doing, they keep doing it from year to year, year to year to year to year. If we have this kind of education system, then we are sure that the future of our nation, Nigeria, is going to be more than bright, right? Because these kids, by the time they are leaving year 12, they are practically equipped. Like I said earlier, we have seen a generation of young people, and that's why I'm so sure. I'm so sure that we have a bright future, right? As a nation, I've seen a generation of young people who are rising, who are saying, no, 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 no. We see what our colleagues are doing in other countries. We cannot afford to be left behind. Okay, I think Mr. Bimbola is back. Hello, Mr. Bimbola, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great! So it's great to have you back again. So Mr. Mbola, let me talk about Joshua one moment. Joshua was one of your students. I know one time he had an interview by TVC, I think by Channel 2, and and all of that, and Joshua, he has he right from primary school, he had the vision of starting a company, which he went ahead. He came up with things in that direction. So can you tell me what made that possible for Joshua? Why he was able to have that experience, and what you think about what education needs to look like today, as per is happening with the society and all of that.
Okay, so a lot actually has been said today as regards this particular question. So putting Joshua in context of in the context of this discussion, I would like to say that a whole lot of factors made it possible for Joshua Bola to achieve what he wanted to achieve. So one thing is for a child to attend good school, and the other side of it is for every child to have good from home. So Joshua Agbola is fortunate to enjoy this too. So when though at a point in time he did not, if you listen to that interview, the TVC interview, you hear when I said his background when he was starting, he did not start like a very strong or like a champion. He had a very challenging startup academically. So while others were achieving a whole lot of things, but he was there struggling. But we as a school never gave up on him. So we kept working on him, kept encouraging him until he peaked. By the time he peaked, he outshined other children, and that's what I will say. And his parents were also very supportive, giving him necessary support. So for us to raise problems over, and at the moment he has a company of his own. He's still in secondary school, and he's already a CEO. So, and for us to raise this kind of problem solvers or innovators. We need to have intentional schools who are focused, who knows what actually the children will be in need of in the nearest future. Even though they are still in school at the moment, we need to be futuristic in the way we train the children, bearing in mind that these children are going to be needing certain skills for them to be relevant, for them to be able to fit into the society in the future, and also make notable impact in the society. So we as school leaders and as educators generally, we need to be updated in the kind of information that we have, and not just regimented in the way we were trained. We were trained to just focus on passing exam, but the one that has gone way past that right at the moment. So a lot is happening. Look at the example given by Mrs. Adebimpe of a child that is already, doing a teenager has his own company and is already employing hundreds and thousands of people. That kind of child, I don't need school, and that is the truth. But one thing I know, at a point in time, secondary education may become something like people begin to look at. I don't really need this, even to the tertiary level. But primary education will become something very vital that will really be needed, because that is where the foundation for success and for the future will be laid. So I quite understand the fear of Mrs. Adebimpe, because it is actually the truth. But when you look at the primary education, although we already have parents homeschooling their children, I have a boy currently newly enrolled into my school. The parents homeschooled him for a particular period of time before bringing him to school, and they discover that, okay, this boy needs to socialize. This boy needs a certain aspect of his life needs to be developed, and which they cannot achieve with homeschooling, and that's why they have to enroll him. So primary education will still be relevant for schools that are intentional and are able to ensure that they tailor their program to the need of the children, preparing the children for the future. So this is something that will be very, very, very vital. Hello, Mr. Adebayo. I don't know if you heard me. Hello, Mr. Adebayo.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's a bit better now. So let me leave on the first end. Okay. Hi, Nabimbola, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, please.
Okay, all right, that's great. Yeah, I like the fact that you mentioned that schools have to become intentional, very, very intentional about how learners are engaged in terms of the content and the learning experiences that have been created. Really, really very intentional. Okay, so I'm going to share this report that I came across lately. Right, so this report says that founders and tech leaders are also becoming more flexible in the criteria for great talent. In April this year, Elon Musk made headlines by saying that a college degree isn't required for a job at Tesla, that's his company. And so this report further finds that 80% of founders that were interviewed of tech companies said that they are willing to hire candidates without a degree if they have the right skills and experience. So I can keep the conversation. Okay. All right, ma'am. So now looking at that report and what we're discussing right here about being very, very intentional. So we see that it's now very, very crucial for schools to review the courses that are being offered. So we should not think more of courses beyond the subject, topic, and then do an exam paradigm that doesn't promote self-paced learning, doesn't promote personalized learning, and with little or no motivation, right? And it's just majorly about competition. So we see that right now, we need to really sit down and do a design work, right? Ask ourselves, what is the future asking for? What is 2030 asking for? What is 2035 asking for? And then begin to design content and learning experiences. Why we still have the maths, the English, the all those things, right? The whole thing has to be blended in such a way that our learners are offered practically what they need, so they have the skills and experience to leverage on opportunities today and in their own future. Yes. So as a round of, what do you say to that?
Well, for me, I see it as a good news because that means that the learners will now come to realize that their productivity, that schooling is all about acquisition of skills. It's not about acquisition of certificates, because in Nigerian education system, we see that certification is more celebrated than the skills that are acquired as a result of schooling. So the report is going to help both the educators and the learners, for them to come to the realization that there is a need, there is a purpose of schooling. Schooling is not about education, because degree and what have you, all of these that we said, if to have people to acquire a degree certificate is because there are certain kind of skills that are supposed to be acquired. But the reverse is the case.
Yeah.
The reverse is the case. We don't run after acquiring those skills, but we are just mindful of the end result, which is the certificate. So this kind of report is going to cause a shift in kind of system that we run and in the kind of mindset of learners and mindset of educators. So this is a good disrupt, in my opinion, it's a good disruption in the education system.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And
thank you,
that
ma'am,
means
for adding your voice.
and that means that even children from primary school at the primary level, as long as you have the needs and you have the needed maturity that will also go along with those skills, you can work. You can even start working.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is.
And start making impact in the society. So I think it's a good disrupt.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We are really in an age of disruption, right? So in Africa, in Nigeria, we know that things are no longer the same. The
Yes.
future, the fourth industrial revolution, is asking for many things that we need to put in place in school today. And the time to do it is now. This is a new dawn for Nigeria. It is the beginning of a new year. The time to do that is now. So for everyone listening, you're a school leader, you're an educator, in your various space, the time to be real is now. The time to be authentic is now. Thank you so much, Mr. Bimbola. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for adding your voice to this conversation. Yeah, it's been so good having you around.
Thank you.
Yeah, so sorry we had some internet issues and we were just on a break for a while. But here is it about project now, right? Right. So every child in every classroom creates a solution to a problem in their society. That's it. So we have a page where we're going to be promoting that, right? So if you're an educator, we're going to create a campaign on Instagram, a campaign on LinkedIn, where you can showcase your learners. So you have learners who are doing these things. We need more evidence of this, right? We need to keep spreading everywhere, so that other schools, other educators can see that there is a revolution, right, and be inspired correctly. So we're going to put our pages, platforms, campaigns. What we're going to be launching and be talking about project now, and now educators are helping learners to disrupt, to create solutions, to affect their society. Yeah, we have heard over and over about Bloom's taxonomy, right? We need to use Bloom taxonomy to help our kids bloom. And for that to happen, it means we have to move to the higher side. Our kids must be analyzing real things. They must be evaluating, not you evaluating them now. They must be creating something, right? That is how we use Bloom taxonomy to help every child to bloom. And that's what we're talking about. So thank you so much for everyone that has been able to join this conversation. This is about project now, and we're saying that in our dear country, in Nigeria, we are going to take responsibility for raising a new generation of young people that will bring the transformation we want in our nation by exposing them to a different kind of education. Yeah, to a different kind of education that is connected to their society and to today's economy. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. And please connect with us on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. You can search for us, EAZY-DIGI, right? And you're going to be getting updates on this campaign, right? The schools we invited to this platform today, Mr. Ademekwe, the school leaders, these are schools that we're working with as consultants and as blended learning managers, right? We are working with them to create a different kind of education. Right? We'll partner with them to make that happen, right? And that's why you see what they're talking about, right? We have standards, we have crazy designs for learning that we use in the schools that we resort for, to create an experience that will raise real problem solvers and innovators. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. My name is Adebayo. Feel free to share your thoughts on LinkedIn, on YouTube. I'd like to hear from you. Yeah, until we meet again. Bye for now.